Hello and welcome to the Freedom Frequency Podcast. I'm your host, Kaya, energy healer, psychic channel, and spiritual mentor for women who are ready to ditch the spiritual rulebook, release the pressure and overwhelm, and let go of all that comparison that makes you feel like what you're doing isn't enough. In this podcast, I'm going to share bits of my journey with you, as well as my wisdom and knowledge to show you that spirituality gets to be something that works for you and not something that you work for. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello. I am excited for this episode. We are going to be doing a channeled message, whatever's coming through around the new moon in Virgo. So the new moon is happening, I think, the evening this podcast will come out. I'm recording it a few days early. Just for back end stuff to get organized on our back end, which kind of ties into, I think, the message that's going to be coming through in some ways. But background, the new moon is always a time of manifestation, setting intentions, the beginning of new cycles. Like, it is like the moon is fresh, it is new, we are fresh, we are new, and it is time to set the intentions for what we're desiring, not only for the next moon cycle, but also just for the future in general, right? Like the new moon is a really good time to think about, okay, what happened between the last new moon and this one, like that whole cycle that happened, like, you know, what peaked at the full moon, what did I release? And like kind of the way the moon cycles are always working is like we're manifesting with the new moon and we're releasing with the full moon. So like we're manifesting something, we're being shown what needs to be released, we're releasing it, and then we're coming back into that cycle to manifest again. And as women, this is really powerful. Like we are also beings that run in cycles, right? We have like our menstrual cycles and they are in tune with the moon. Like for a lot of us, it actually does line up. And if not, then it's still of the same energy, if that makes sense. So it's really powerful for us to be working with the moon cycles as well as our own menstrual cycles, which is a whole nother conversation we'll save for another time, but to be working with the moon cycles to work with the energy that's present, right? Because it isn't to say that we can't manifest with a full moon, like we can't set intentions. Like, of course we can, like we're powerful beings. We can manifest anytime we want to. We can release things anytime we want to. But when we're leaning into the energy that's present in the cosmos, it's kind of like leaning in and getting that little like that power strip. I'm seeing like, you know, in Mario Kart when there's like those little strips where when you go on them, it like speeds you up a little bit. It's kind of like that, where it's like you're leaning over to the side where you're going to hit the power strip and like, you know, go ahead a little bit more. But regardless, you're still going. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, that's not the point of what I wanted to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is a message coming through for the new moon in Virgo, just for the collective, everyone who listens to this podcast, and what we need to know around this time. So not even specifically around the new moon per se, but also just like the energy that is present right now. And what's really coming through, I'm just going to get down to it. I love short and sweet episodes. What's really coming through right now is the Virgo energy is very like organized, like it's very like everything has a system, everything is clean, it's organized, it's perfect. Like it's just, if you know a Virgo or like even like a Virgo rising or something, they can be kind of like this as well. Anyway, so the energy that's really coming through right now is this energy of like cleaning things up, organizing. And I know this was something that I talked about, I think, in my full moon podcast, but this one's going in a different direction. I promise I'm not regurgitating the same information. What's really coming through here is the balance between organization, having things together, and perfectionism. So the message coming through, and it's like one of the shadows of Virgo in general, is that like need to have everything perfect, like the need to feel like everything has to be perfect for me to do XYZ, like everything has to just be as so for me to do something. So the way this is really coming through right now from my guides is like feeling the need to have things perfect, the need to have things a certain way before you can have what you desire. So really being aware of like, where are you setting these rules? Where are you setting these like limitations where, oh, I won't be able to have, whatever it is. Like I won't be able to manifest my dream partner until I lose some weight, or until I don't know, learn how to do my makeup properly, or like until I like learn to be a little quieter, because like people like quiet girls or whatever it is, right? Or like I won't be able to see the success in my business until I really nail down my marketing, until I really, get clear on my ideal client avatar or whatever, I don't even know, right? So what the message, or like the message that's coming through right now, is really around like the guides are wanting us to be really aware of like where we are having intention and being organized in a way that's healthy, versus when we're leaning into organization and perfectionism as like an unhealthy habit. So like, of course we want to like not have pure chaos in our life. Like this comes back to like the masculine and feminine balance in life, right? Where not just like, men and women, but like even within ourselves, having that masculine energy and that feminine energy, where the masculine is more structured and, creates that safety for the feminine energy, right? So like the way masculine energy would show up in our lives might be like having a schedule for something, having a calendar, like it could be, having boundaries in place, even like it's just any kind of structure. So like the easiest way that I see this is like in business, right? Like we can have structure in business where it's like we have structures on the back end, automations, we have maybe a content plan or a strategy or whatever it is, right? Everyone's a little bit different. And then the feminine energy is more of that like creative flow energy. It's more of that like receiver energy too. Like the masculine's more giving and providing and setting up a safe structure. And the feminine energy is more of that like the flow, the creativity, the receiving, like, and we need to have a balance of both. And not to say that's 50-50, but it's like different for everyone how that balance is for them. And what's really coming through around this is like recognizing where we're creating that healthy masculine balance versus like toxic, because sometimes masculine energy can show up in perfectionism. Like it can show up in like, I need to do and get all this stuff set up, all this stuff structured. I need a plan for everything. I need to, do X, Y, Z in order to get what I want, and for like, that feminine energy to receive. But when we have too many structures in place, when we have too many things that are, perfect, then the feminine doesn't really have any like creative flow, because there's nowhere to flow, because everything's already set up by the masculine kind of, right? So there's a different balance for everyone. So I won't get too deep into that, but really the main theme, I guess, of this message is around like, just coming back to being self-aware and looking at different areas of your life. So like this plays out obviously in business as the example I gave, but like if you're not a business owner, it can play out in relationships where you're like over planning things and like everything has to be perfect and everything has to be like this way, and you want to control everything, and like you're not leaving anything for the other person to contribute, which I feel like that opens up a whole can of worms too. I feel like the guys are just giving me these things where I want to go off on side tangents, and I just like want to keep this concise. But the new moon is a new cycle where we're setting intentions, and with this energy of, organization versus perfectionism, we want to look at what are the intentions that we're setting? What are we desiring to manifest in this next cycle, in the next few months, in the next year? What action needs to be taken to manifest this, and what actually doesn't? So what action needs to happen and what action would just be coming from a place of like control, over organizing, and perfectionism, and needing everything to be just so, and needing your hand to be on every little step and every little piece, and everything has to go just the way that you want it to have what you desire, right? So that's really the theme and the message coming through. I feel like this channeled message was so scattered. Like I just felt like I had like 18 people trying to talk to me in my head, but hopefully that lands for you. Hopefully it resonates. And yeah, like I would love to hear what your intentions are, what you're manifesting with this full moon, what's going on for you guys right now. I love when you guys send me messages because one, I love the connection piece, but I also love to know like what's going on with my audience. Like what are you guys up to? What are you struggling with? Like what's going on in your life, because it helps me to create more content and share more information and more channeled messages that are directly for you, that are going to help you, whether that's through my podcast or my Instagram, but I love to hear it either way. So feel free to send me a message. As always, I welcome you to leave us a review and leave a nice comment. It helps us get our message out there, helps us get our podcast to reach more people and get our message to reach further and further, which I love. That's my mission. So thank you. Happy new moon in Virgo, and I'll chat with you on the next one.